My name is Olaoulwa Baikie. I'm a chartered accountant and I have a background in economics. So, I studied economics at university up to master's level. Big question. Last 48 hours, actually, I'm still catching up on sleep because I stayed awake for the whole thing as part of my sort of role I'm doing. Difficult. It's done what I expected it to do, but I'm not happy that it's done that because I know that it's going to affect people and they may not necessarily realize how it's affecting them. So,
What type of people will it affect?
so me and you, our pensions, depending on what your pension was invested in, especially if it was equities, i.e. shares of companies, then it's going to be probably worth less at the moment.
We have had politicians saying, no, it's safe.
Mm.
Your pensions are safe. Is that just...
I don't know what pensions they're talking about, maybe state pensions, but most of us have a personal pension, and this is through work, or if you're self-employed and you set one up. And if you don't understand the kind of products you're in, and maybe your company has just put you into the standard default product, and this is invested in the stock market at this particular time, then most likely the value would have gone down. Not to say the value won't eventually rise again, but we have two terms that we use: downside risk, upside potential. So downside risk means price is falling. Upside potential is the value rising, price is rising. At the moment, because of all the economic uncertainty, the downside risk is a lot more. And we've seen that markets around the world tumbled. Our FTSE, which is our stock market here in the UK, has fallen consecutively 2 days in a row. That means the value of your investments, if they're linked to the stock market, are going to be falling. If you're in bonds or cash or gold, you're probably a bit better off at the moment, or at this level before the vote came in. Otherwise, it would have probably gone down. So yeah, it's had seismic changes. The pound has fallen. So we peaked around £1 to for every £1, you get $1.49. So we picked it at, it's now $1.31. So it's falling quite significantly. That's, I think, about 11 to 12%. And this affects you in many ways that people don't realize. So the first immediate one is that it becomes more expensive for you to go on holiday. So if you're planning a holiday and you've not changed your money, then it's going to be more expensive for you. The second one is that we import a lot of goods into the UK that we depend on. One immediate example is food. So because we buy these things in other currencies from abroad, with the value of the pound going down, it automatically means it's more expensive to buy. They will not be able to fully cover the costs. They will have to bear some of that themselves, but they will pass some of that on to us. So it's going to be more expensive for you eventually when you're going to Tesco's, Asda's, that kind of thing. It's going to be more expensive for you when you go to the petrol station to fill up, because fuel is bought in dollars. So on the global market, petrol, fuel, or crude oil as it's called, is traded in dollars. So the pound being weaker now, comparison to the dollar, means it's immediately more costly, and so the price will go up. So these are just immediate impacts. I mean, long term, we still don't know because we're still dealing with the fallout. But because of the political climate being so uncertain now, there's a bit of a political vacuum that exacerbates things, because the financial markets, how things work in the financial industry and financial markets, they take a lot of their direction from what the politicians are doing, what they're saying, the decisions they're taking. And it's better to take a decision than to just hang on, whatever it is. And because they're all hanging on, we don't know who the next prime minister is going to be now. And, you know, our prime minister currently is delaying pulling the plunge or the trigger on actually exiting the EU. It's causing a lot of jittery in the markets, and that's been reflected in the fact that the pound is falling now consecutively for 2 days. The main markets around the world have fallen. specifically the UK market I'm talking about. And so it's the next few months are going to be difficult. Inflation is essentially about prices rising from one period to another, be it 1 month to month or year to year.
And they usually look at stuff like, food as, the cost
As a benchmark,
benchmark.
food as a benchmark, petrol as a benchmark, depending on which one you're using. There's different inflation indexes, so CPI, Consumer Price Index, it stands for RPI, Retail Price Index. There's slight variations, but what you've said is exactly right. And so when inflation goes up, it means other decisions have to be taken to manage that position, because inflation going up means the value of your money is going down. And if it goes down too quickly, people are going to be struggling, could start struggling, especially working class people. So, I mean, it has economic consequences in terms of what the Central Bank of England have to do in terms of setting interest rates. I don't want to go too much into the technicalities, but it's going to mean that they have to take some decisions around that. Whatever reasons you had for voting to leave or stay, we just need to now manage the situation as it is. And it's going to be difficult. The next 3 months are not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. It could actually also have spillover effects into the housing market, which, depending on who you are, if you're trying to buy your first property or you've just bought your first property, it's going to raise some concerns for you. We could see mortgage rates go up. Conversely, we can see them go down. We're just not sure yet, depending on how things play out. We can see house prices fall. So it has an effect on every one of us. This is the personal ramifications that we sort of have to deal with now. And it's difficult. It's not going to be easy for any of us. The most important thing is to just get smart and start protecting yourself.